Hello, it's me. Shout out to Professor Tim Wilson for his little piece here, his article. French, German, and UK stories suggest preparation for warfare. What a surprise. So let's have a listen to what the gentleman has to say. And go over there and show the channel some love. Please do.
It's not a prophecy, but there are rumours running through Europe's institutions that feel very much like a prelude. And one begins to suspect that governments are preparing their people softly for something darker on the horizon. There's stories in Germany, in France particularly, satirical stories, and of course in the UK. In Berlin, senior ministers are blunt that there's no money to spare. Defence, not research, will take priority, and universities are being warned that their budgets for science, innovation, and academic life are being raided in order to build a defence industry. Tanks, drones, ammunition stockpiles. In effect, Germany is dismantling part of its knowledge economy to fund preparations for a possible war in 2026 or 2027. This is not the rhetoric of peace through...
I've just made a video about Zelensky and, the money going and what I feel about what Zelensky is. Spoiler alert, I think he's a state asset for Europe. He's a fall guy. And 10, 15 years down the line, we'll tell the story. He's being put in place too. He's a chess piece, isn't he? That's what it seems to me. And now there are rumblings of war across Europe, as Professor Tim Wilson is telling us here. There are all sorts of stories. I read one about, was it mass casualty tents, like huge gazebos that are used to store bodies in body bags. Europe will have its war, it seems, at any cost. So let's listen on.
Dialogue, it's about rearmament at the expense of the classroom. And in France, there's an extraordinary letter from the French Ministry of Health to regional health agencies ordering hospitals to prepare for war by March 2026. And the letter speaks of receiving thousands of wounded soldiers and even repatriating foreign troops through centres at ports and airports. Doctors are to be trained to work with a scarcity of resources and to prepare for tens of thousands of casualties. The health minister doesn't deny it. To the BFM TV, she's admitted with bureaucratic understatement that it's entirely normal for a country to anticipate crises.
And that's true, it is. But there seems to be, with everything that's going on around Ukraine, and elsewhere, that the build-up to war is indeed happening. How do I feel about that? There's a 60-year-old bloke in the UK. It sucks. It fully sucks. Repatriating foreign fighters. Russians? Chinese? I follow paranormal events. Where did that come from? Bear with me. In the US, some months ago, there was this whole thing with mysterious drones flying over the US. But it wasn't so cut and dried, because people started saying, why don't you just shoot them down? Well, they were told not to. Well, why don't you get a look at them with planes and helicopters? Because there were reports that when helicopters got close to these drones, they would start to malfunction. Same for planes, fighter planes. Trump then goes on live TV and says he knows where they're coming from. They're coming from a garage. We go into the garage, blah, blah, blah. Then months later, in power, he says that they were all authorized and they were craft that we know about rather than being mysterious and a bit spooky. If you want to know more, you just type in drones and all the news articles will come up, and just familiarize yourself with those. But they weren't right. They were a bit odd. The drones would hover for hours at a time, which you can't do in a normal drone, blah, blah, blah. However, the undertone to the entire story was that they were being launched from the sea, just off the coast, and that there was a big suspicion that they were advanced, highly advanced, and that they were coming from a Chinese offshore submarine. The Chinese apparently literally conducted a military exercise on US soil. Now we know, because of the way the society over there is structured, that there are very few impediments to progress, particularly technological progress. And so with that filed neatly away, nothing would surprise me. But can we really envisage a world where China and Russia invade Europe? World War II plays out, millions dead, and then America enters the war, just like they did after Pearl Harbor, and saves the day, maybe? What I think, for me, is an unscratchable itch is what will be the new Pearl Harbor. What single event might signal the world's military police force, the US, to become involved, thereby bolstering European military interests? Could it be invasion of the UK? Maybe. One thing's for sure, it's all a big mess. I started this channel to cover funny things. It's not going very well. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do like and subscribe. And until next time, look after yourselves.